Hello, hello. How are you guys? Welcome to another Kleros community call. How are you, Jean?
Doing fine, doing good. And you?
Awesome.
How
Today,
how how was your trip?
oh, I have so many things to tell you guys. So let's just say today is Wednesday, October 1st. I missed the previous one, as you mentioned, because I was in Paris at the conference of BlockchainGov. BlockchainGov is a group of research about blockchain created by a very well-known scholar called Primavera de Filippi, a pioneer in the world of legal innovation and blockchain in particular. She is also the co-author of one great book called Blockchain and the Law, and with Aaron Wright. And I mean, this is kind of the Bible of blockchain and law. And she has led over the past 5 years a research group about governance on blockchains with funding from the European Union. And so in this research project, they did the final presentation of the findings last week in Paris, in the beautiful auditory of Panthéon Assas University, right in front of the Panthéon in Paris, in an amazing place. I mean, I shared some pictures on Twitter, and we were there like among some of the brightest scholars and practitioners in the world of blockchain and decentralized governance in general, digital cooperatives, under a beautiful painting, a fresco by, I don't remember the name of the painter, but it was about the law, because this is the best law and economics university in France. And we had there many good friends of Kleros, some of them from the world of academia. Well, Nathan Schneider, who is a professor at Boulder, Colorado. He was quite critical in the early days about the hyper-financialization of the digital solution based on Kleros. He wrote a very good paper about that. Yeah, there you go. And then there was this a phrase by Cicero there about the law and the right reason and nature. So Nathan Schneider wrote this post about the problem of using financial incentives for this digital solution. It was answered by Vitalik. It was then answered by William. So some of the people who are engaged in the debate about the future of governance. So Nathan, Eric Olson, professor also in Colorado, and he's like an economics expert, and he's an expert in DAOs and constitutions. Then there was people like Joachim, who is a regulator from the European Commission, I think. Then people from all of the BlockchainGov team. One of the participants, one of the team members of BlockchainGov is Jamilia Kamalova, who was a researcher with us, and she's still doing her PhD at Panthéon Assas. And well, she presented some of her work. Tara Merck. Then we had I don't want to, because I'm sure I will forget someone, and then people will get angry. Oh, you mentioned her and you didn't mention me. So I mean, every one of the who is who on the blockchain governance space was there. It was super inspiring. In my case, I was in a panel about exit to community. So one of the topics is, so when you start one of these protocols, it starts in a kind of sometimes more centralized way. And then it starts decentralizing. Ideally, the end goal or the end game for Kleros would be that most of the activities that are currently done by the Kleros cooperative start to be transferred into the Kleros DAO, or the Kleros Republic, as we should call it, maybe. So how to do that, and how to not fall into dramas or bad governance and disasters is not that evident. And so we had this really good panel where I explained a bit about the experience of proof of humanity. So in this case, what we did is try to see how it would work having a system of governance based on one person, one vote, based on proof of humanity for registering voters. for in one sense, it is better than having only plutocratic, token voting, because people gives people more chance of participating. But on the other hand, well, it has other problems. As you might know, there is even a paper written about all of the governance drama resulting from this too early decentralization. I also gave a talk at the HCC conference in Brussels about this. So I presented a bit about that, about the learnings. I also told a bit about the plans or lack of plans we have of Kleros, of how to do this in the right way, because we are trying to figure this out. Nathan Schneider was my panel, and he was talking about how cooperatives work, in the sense of how cooperatives that have been around for like decades, or some of them even centuries, organize their governance. Then there was this other panelist was Jacqueline. She's a Brazilian living in the US, and she's also an expert in cooperatives. And then Tara Merck, who is part of the BlockchainGov, she was the moderator. She's part of the BlockchainGov. So it was really excellent. So my panel was about exit to community strategies. Others were about the interactions between the lex cryptographia, as they call it, the law of blockchain, and the traditional legal systems. Lots of discussions are about liability in the context of DAO decisions, situations where you have a DAO wrapper and the legal personhood of a DAO in the legal world. They will release talks, so people will be able to see them. It's really, really high level, and that's basically spectacular. We will have also a pilot I really want to do, that we will start hopefully soon with Primavera, about the use of Kleros and DAOs. In particular, one tool we developed called SafeSnap to control DAO governance in order to do what people call AI alignment. So how do you make sure that an AI doesn't misbehave in a situation where it could go wrong and destroy humanity? Well, you could have an AI controlled by a DAO, and that DAO could have this module implemented. So if there is some evidence of the AI misbehaving, so this could be killed, or it could be sent to a trial where jurors will decide whether it is or not misbehaving. If they decide the AI is guilty, then the guillotine comes, and then it's over for the AI. Well, if you want to see it as a kill switch, you can also see it as a kill switch. I prefer to see it in a guillotine way, because it's because the conference was in France, right? So, okay, I guess that's it. And then I got tons of things that back home. Lots of things connected to the Dev Connect conference that is coming. We are going to participate in different things. I'm going to participate in a lot of interest from different Connect and the Ethereum Foundation actors regarding real-world implementations of blockchain. Argentina is perfect for that. Was invited to participate in a panel finding the commons to discuss about the Mendoza use case. So lots of different things. I'm also writing a chapter with William about Kleros and AI, another chapter with Wang Mian, actually 2 chapters for another book about decentralized justice and Kleros. So tons of different little things besides business development activities. I don't want to go through all of this now, but yeah, the thing is, when I go to these conferences, it's great to be around so many smart people, and lots of different things, new opportunities come up. But then, I get back home and I have like a pile of stuff. Some of them quite boring, because it's administrative thing. But anyway, I'm not going to complain about my job. It's okay. Okay. Yeah. Jim, what do you have for today?
This week we had the release of the podcast with the American Arbitration Association, new podcast about ADR. I think it was pretty interesting. I want to see the feedback of the lawyers watching it, but I think they will like what they heard.
They will like or they will hate it. The important is that there is engagement, and discussion.
Yeah. I think most of them do not expect uh, these mechanisms that are maybe so out of the ordinary are already being used for real cases and working and having like good feedback, right? So I think this part they cannot deny that.
You know what they say? The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. So, but it's already here.
Yes,
Mm.
great. So
Okay.
next
Yeah, let's go. What do we have for today?
we we have Alex. He will be giving a presentation about Futarchy and DAOs, and this has been a topic in many DAOs lately, and I hope we can have like a good material about it because everyone is asking, everyone wants to learn. And just before you start, Alex, I just would like to mention what happened this Friday when Divansh from the Ethereum Foundation announced a new program that was created to assign the impact on different Ethereum dependencies. And after that, there will be funds that will be released to Ethereum contributors. This will be part of the Gitcoin round, and it's part of the research application of the research that um, Divansh has made with Clement and Gore from Lido on that they studied on the retreat in Iceland, and it will use prediction markets and also AI to assign these values. But maybe you can touch that a little bit on that later, Alex, and um, feel free to start your presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Federico. So yeah, it will be the opportunity to discuss a bit more about Futarchy. I guess you have seen maybe the Kleros account, maybe my account, maybe some account of the other team member retweeting some things around Futarchy, around prediction market for DAOs and governance. So the idea is like to show you in 10 minutes what are the basics of this concept, what they mean for Kleros DAO, and what are our goal. If you are here also, you're lucky because it's a bit a teaser of the talk that I will be giving with Cass from a partner project, Futarchy.fi. I will be giving this talk in Buenos Aires in the Governance Day event organized by SitGov. So yeah, you will have a small teaser about it. Let me share my screen. I have some slide to make it easy to understand. Showing my screen now. Okay. So now you should see my screen. So the idea is to go into Futarchy and more especially price-based Futarchy and to understand why it could be a tool for smarter DAO decisions. So first of all, what is the concept of Futarchy? Futarchy was written, it's a concept, a theoretical concept that comes from a manifesto paper that was written by Romin and Son almost 20 years ago. So it's an old concept. And the idea of this concept is all about voting on value, but betting on beliefs. What does it mean? Basically, I think there is two key points to understand here that are interesting. The first one is about the original idea of Robin and Son. It was not about generalized governance, but it was about government. And that was really his first idea. And then the bet on beliefs part, it's about prediction markets. And that's a topic that I guess you are hearing a lot right now that is pretty hyped and right now. So you will ask me what it has to do with Kleros. Kleros has been in the governance space for a very long time. Federico mentioned many times Futarchy, basically at the very beginning when this concept were there, and Kleros also is a tool that is useful for prediction market. So Kleros used to secure Omen and is still securing, Omen, a prediction market. But now we have a new prediction market that is Seer, that is an infrastructure prediction market, and you can build some specific application on top of it. So Seer is a prediction market developed by Clément, that is the other co-founder of Kleros. And one specific application was built on top of this project, and this application is focusing on Futarchy.fi. The interesting point is like for both, basically, even for the market you will find on Seer and for the market that you will find on Futarchy.fi, both of them, you have the subjective oracle that is Kleros, that is securing those markets. It means if you have a dispute, so if at some point somebody disagree with the final outcome of a prediction market, can be a regular market or it could be a Futarchy market, Kleros jurors will solve basically the disputes and will bring basically the results on chain. So that's why we are pushing all this use case with Futarchy, is because by doing this, we are pushing the integration of Kleros for these new innovative use cases across DAOs, as I'm going to show you. So if we come back to Futarchy, it's about voting on values, but betting on beliefs. And at the very original point, it was about government. So the idea is like about voting on value. It's like you have a government, is elected, he wants to do some things about national welfare, for instance. And the question is how it's going to do this. So some people have different ideas about how to implement it. And the idea here, to make it work more concretely, it's to define a clear metric. So for the national welfare, we can take the metric of GDP per capita. And then we need to take a specific proposal. A specific proposal could be to create a universal basic income. And the question now is a universal basic income going to increase GDP per capita or not? And then that's where basically we need basically prediction market. And the prediction market are going to help us answer this specific question. Interesting thing is Futarchy was theoretized for government, but now with DAOs, it's starting to finding its product market fit. I'm taking the example of price-based Futarchy for DAO. In this case, the metric is not the GDP per capita, but is the token price of GNO, Gnosis DAO. And the proposal can have different proposal, but one proposal, for instance, is this one, is should Gnosis DAO fund Gnosis enterprise with 30 million per year? By the way, those are real proposal and real market that happened earlier this year. The idea is to have basically to look at the impact of this proposal and the impact on GNO token price. And here, as this tweet highlight, basically what we had. We had at the end the Futarchy market that was telling us two things. It was telling us that if basically the proposal passed, the GNO token price will be $115, and if it doesn't pass, it will be $99. And then we can look at what happened. What happened? It passed, the proposal passed, the token pumped, and it was accepted. So those markets were useful for a voter, a delegate that wants to know what to vote and that is caring about one metric. This metric could be GNO. So that's for Gnosis. But what does it mean for Kleros? Maybe you have some PNK token, you are a community member, you're following Kleros for a long time. So we passed in July this proposal. So it's about having a specific rules in order to enforce a Futarchy test for any proposal that are involved with PNK minting. So this was passed in snapshot. This is this KIP. So now if anybody wants to mint more PNK, they will have basically to go through a Futarchy test, and the Futarchy should show that the token price is going higher with this proposal. It's like a way to protect, let's say, the interest of the PNK token holders. So we have run some of these markets. It was not directly for PNK minting, but it was for some proposal. So we ran those to get some information. And it's interesting because we got some interesting examples. So we got an example of a good proposal, an example of a bad proposal. If we take the following proposal, it was about changing basically the incentives program for jurors. This proposal, we had some debates, and if you go on the snapshot, you can see that the community was a bit split. As you can see here, you have 48 million of PNK for, but you have 24 million of PNK against, which is something that doesn't happen quite often. I think it's a good sign to see that some proposals sometimes are not fully consensual, but it also could be also a bit difficult for some token holders to understand what to vote and what is their best interest. The good point is if somebody just wants to maximize its holding and the value of its PNK, it could have gone to the Futarchy market, and it will have seen that if this proposal pass, the price impact would be 14% positive. And then an example of a bad proposal. There was this proposal about a research initiative that wants to be funded by the DAO. It was mentioned in the forum that basically the DAO is not the best place to fund such initiative because we already have the fellowship in place. And the interesting part here is you can see that in this case as well, the Futarchy market, the difference, the big difference is in this case, the Futarchy market was showing a negative price impact of 15%, as you can see here. So it means that this proposal was not good for the price of PNK. And the interesting point is you can even see some delegates and some token holders that are starting to reference this in their rationale here in this screenshot. So it's a new tool first to protect PNK token holders of minting that could harm their value, and it's also allowing them to help them to take some decisions. So it's a tool on the side that is helping basically take decision in Kleros DAO. And don't want to spoil everything, but stay tuned. We are going to have some news. Some other DAOs are going to adopt this solution. So yeah, I would be happy to answer all questions on Twitter and here. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Well, thanks a lot, Alex. Federico, any comments?
Just no, just congratulations. As I mentioned this many times, I don't want to spend a lot of time in this. I've been following prediction markets for a long time, maybe more than 10 years, and I published a post about this even before Augur launched. I used the example of an election in Argentina, and explaining how this could be used to replace, polls, and that. I have been a bit disappointed in general in the history of prediction markets because they kind of failed into getting the traction that we had wanted. Until now, with Polymarket and Kalshi, it seems it's becoming more mainstream. But I've seen other times also thinking that this would become mainstream and that people would actually use it. What I want to see is this being used for decision making in like useful scenarios, because you can use this. The example people use all the time, it's like elections. Sometimes even predict who's going to win the Oscar, which is okay if you are into the industry of entertainment. I mean, maybe I don't know. There must be like a non-gambling reason for having that information. But for now, we haven't seen like people actually using the information produced as a result of these markets, which would be great to see. We have a bunch of ideas in Kleros and projects. One of them is for using this type of market for values of real estate, and you can use that. And then you can combine them with Kleros decision making in the sense that the long term. So why this is important for us in particular, because you could use prediction markets in order to predict how Kleros jurors will decide a case. So if you have a prediction market about a particular case, and then you see that 99% of the chances that A will win, do you need still to have the case actually done? Maybe you can just okay, if 99% of the odds is for A, maybe let's just call it. This is something that could make really more efficient the decision making in lots of these use cases. So this is why we are exploring that. You could have AIs trading on those markets. Let's say, okay, and AIs think that A will win. So this could bring down a lot the cost of the Petro solution. I see this happening. We are, as I said, doing lots of research about AI. So you have AI for jurors in cases, but what if you have AIs to bet on prediction markets about cases? So this is one step further. There are lots of, I think, impediments coming not that much from the technical elements, but coming from moral considerations. Do you want your people or bots betting on whether you are right or not in your dispute? This is something that is going to be seen as acceptable by people. And what if you have a case where the prediction market says that you have 99% of odds of losing, but you're not guilty, right? So just because betting market says that you are likely guilty, you don't deserve your day in trial. So there are lots of considerations coming from moral elements and even legal compliance elements that affect this type of situation. So this is something I didn't explain for a long time. Yeah,
there's a movie about that.
The artificial the Minority Report, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's concerning. And there is another movie called Artificial Justice, that is a Spanish movie. I watched it 2 months ago, which is really interesting in the sense of putting AI tools in dispute solution. But they do it in the criminal justice system, right? So there is, on the one side, argument for this in the sense of, okay, this can make it way faster. You can imagine solving your dispute or your trial in one day or just a few days or a week. That you have that. On the other side, how this affects your access to justice rights. This is a concerning thing also. And for me, so this idea of you don't have your right to trial because AI said that, or prediction market says that it's very likely that you are guilty. Well, in the 12 Angry Man scenario, the guy gets hanged because, or cooked, I think, in that time, because everyone would have bet that he was guilty. And there are lots of different considerations to take into account. So these are things we're exploring. Maybe there are situations when this kind of actually happens already, but in a more like a hidden way. In the US justice system, most of the cases are resolved through plea bargaining. So you're accused of something, and then you can enter into like a bargaining with the prosecutor about okay, the guy offers you okay, go to jail for 5 years. I mean, you're not guilty, so you're not guilty. But can you convince the jury you're not guilty? And then he tells you, okay, I offer you 5 years, or take your chance, go to trial, and maybe you get 20 years if it doesn't work well for you. But so what do you do? Taking 5 years even if you're not guilty, or roll the dice, maybe go free, but also risk going 20 years. There are lots of game theoretical situations that are around this thing of prediction markets, in the sense of if you know what prediction market says about your case, you have more information about what is going to look like, for you in court. So I don't want to go too much more into this. Sure, William is going to have more opinions. But these are stuff I am researching. I will write very soon about this. I have been exploring these topics for a long time, and more recently. So yeah, I mean, I guess William, this is your call for yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just your point about like people having external prediction markets on the outcome of Kleros cases. This is something you need to take into account in how you design the incentives of Kleros itself, because it gets to these questions about over financialization of systems, that if people can hedge their votes in Kleros on some prediction market or something, that's kind of a problem. So you need to we intend to have this mechanism of the juror behavior court, where there are aspects of the juror code that if you break them, you can be penalized. That's the kind of thing that you need to keep in mind, that we want to have a mechanism that's kind of self-contained for the Kleros jurors, and if there are these extra financialized mechanisms that are external that people can interact with, you have to plan around that.
There you go. So these systems don't need to be just efficient. They need also to be seen as legitimate. If they start to look too weird or too manipulative or too calculative compared to our common understanding of what a process should look like for dispute resolution, then I mean, you can try to convince people that this is better. You can convince them that it's more efficient, whatever. But people are just not going to trust it. So it's a lot of that type of things. And the fact that now we can use soulbound tokens and identity protocols for better selection of jurors and whitelisting and one person, one vote makes Kleros already way more palatable to what people actually want to use. So this is all of the financialization debate that we addressed in the conference last week, and that it was discussed by Nathan, Schneider, Vitalik, and William. So I will soon make some presentation about this, but for you to see where my thinking is at the moment. I did put some of these topics on the table in my American Arbitration Association podcast episode. I mentioned the use of prediction markets in dispute resolution. And Adam,
I don't know if you...
who is... Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, it cut for me for a bit, but I think it's working now.
Okay. No, I mean, we did a podcast. I did a podcast with the American Arbitration Association last month, and then it was published yesterday. And I was interviewed by Adam, who is an expert in arbitration from the US, and he works at this is the best place for. This is the association that handles all of the consumer claims in the US. And I mentioned prediction markets, and he didn't know what prediction markets are. I mean, we don't assume that everyone knows what prediction markets are, and let alone now they put it on South Park. So okay, it's a bit more in the mainstream, but don't assume that everyone knows what this, and don't assume that even if they know it, don't assume that they will trust them. So these are very old institutions, are very old practices that will not change so fast. So yeah, so I don't know. We always experiment with everything. That I can tell you. And as everything, it will work in some use cases. Probably it will not work in other use cases. So we will see. The hard part is to know where it will work. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other comments about this, guys, but this is my take on the matter. Okay, we all agree then. Yeah, William, you can go ahead with your update of the week.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, we're doing a lot of research on how the interactions of decentralized justice and AI. Of course, that's like a trendy thing. Everyone wants to see how like the coming wave of improving AI is going to impact all aspects of our lives. So we're writing a chapter for a publication that we're hoping to like publish soon that looks at various aspects of this and co-authoring this with Federico and others. But in particular, I've been running a bunch of experiments where we look at like how do LLMs handle different Kleros cases? Like if you give past cases to LLMs, like what do they say? How do their kinds of rulings differ from the kinds of like rulings humans make? Like to what degree is this something that like the evidence and the sort of arguments people make can like manipulate the LLMs more to their side than maybe they could manipulate the humans? So there's a lot of unexplored stuff to be dug into there.
I mean, I will not spoil it for you guys, but we have already been reviewing some of the results about how LLMs decide, and this is going to be pretty mind-blowing. I'm really looking forward to us finishing this chapter, and it's going to be published in a very important publication, which is a Walters Kluwer, which is one of the most important publications in the world of law. So it's going to be like I would make a prediction market, about this being like a paper that's going to be quite heavily, cited in the future. So it's like one of those seminal papers. So yeah. Okay. Thank you, William. Do we have? Fortunato. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can switch. No, Fortunato, how are you?
Hello, guys. I'm good. Very, very cool talk about Futarchy. It's very interesting, and I'm curious to see how it will unfold. Because sometimes we envision something in a certain way, but then by using it, we discover new use cases and new way to approach it. So very, very excited about it. For today, about curation, since it's October 1st, I will bring some of the highlights from the previous month, some of the numbers related to curation. Last month, we had more than 790 registered items as a new submission on Curate on the main registries, which are the famous contract metadata, and then we also have the prediction market curation which are the markets that are coming from Seer. Amongst these registries, the one that got more submission is the address tag registries, with almost 400 new registered items only on address tags. So the address tags, they solve the problem of blind signing. So you give a name to a smart contract in order when you are performing a transaction where you have to sign a transaction, you see a name instead of just a bunch of numbers. And by submitting new items to this registry, you contribute in making transactions safer and easier. But new submissions are not the only thing we have on Curate, because sometimes after some years, it is possible that a submission changes some of its parameters. There's something different, something that doesn't comply anymore with the policy, and it needs to be removed. Last month, we had about 40 removals, so entries that were not compliant anymore. And this is an example. I don't know if you can see because in the screen it's quite small, but this was a case where a contract that was tagged back in 2023 had the project that was the project that was handling the smart contract, they changed their domain, and the old domain that was in the registry and that was also pushed to other platform like Etherscan, the old domain got hacked and now was pointing to a scam website. So the project decided to take down this old submission that was leading to a scammy website and to update with their current website. So these mechanisms are important for some entries to keep them up to date and keep the community safe. And then we also have the more famous disputes, because in this previous case that I showed, it didn't require to go to court because it has been flagged as non-compliant entry. No one challenged the removal requests, so the item was removed without even going to dispute. For talking about disputes, so when there is a disagreement between a challenger and a submitter, we had 34 disputes that are already enforced and 7 that are still ongoing from September. Another interesting case was this token that was the copycat of another famous token. Now I think the name was Kai token, and someone was trying to submit this scammy token. It has been flagged by a challenger, and the challenger won the disputes, and this scammy token didn't make it to the registry. And as a conclusion, today, as I said, it's 1st of October, and we are renewing the Scout Incentive Program. We left most of the rules from the previous months, just with an important addition that now we accept Linea as a awardable chain, because you can profit by participating in Curation, not just as a challenger or as a crowdfunder, but we are sponsoring this program of this incentive program to increase the dimension of our registry and have more submission to then push to our partners. So look on our website, look on our blog, and follow our social media to look all the parameters and to participate, because it's a good way to contribute to a safer community and also getting rewarded for it. So yeah, these are the main highlights from the previous week.
Nice. I have a comment about Linea, because like a little bit unrelated maybe, but they announced this week that Swift is working with Linea and Consensus to make a test. And they also released their token. Like they announced, MetaMask announced that there will be a token for MetaMask, and it will probably be on Linea because they're all part of Consensus. So probably there will be lots of different activity in the chain. So it's nice that we will be the first ones to be tagging the contracts there, right?
Yeah, definitely. Also because MetaMask uses Linea for their card, and they are investing on it. So yeah, it makes sense. And we always move alongside with our partners to deliver a better user experience. So as you said, tagging addresses on Linea, it will be extremely useful.
And we were also the launching partners of the Kleros Scout Snap. So yeah, that's nice too. We'll soon have an update on Kleros Scout Snap, right?
That's correct, and we will also be probably one of the first partners to have Scout Snap compatible with the new contracts from the Pectra update, because as you know, MetaMask introduced these smart accounts where you can wrap the transaction of sign, confirm, and sign in just a single transaction, and right now it doesn't work with Snap, but we are working already to be one of the first to have Scout Snap with smart accounts on MetaMask wallet.
Great. I think, well, thanks Fortunato. I think we can go to BizDev updates, right, Federico?
Last but not least, yeah.
Hey, how are you? I will try to be
Hello,
short.
Marcos.
Hello.
Go ahead.
We have some updates from the BD team from Kleros Enterprise. In first place, about the customer dependent figure. As you know, we have been working with this figure that was presented a few weeks ago. I think it was last month. That kind of gives more. Gives more. How would you say it, Federico? Gives. It makes the resolution of Kleros more important for the companies. So that's kind. That's.
You mean being binding?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's kind of fine. Yeah, first, it has to be approved by the user, but it's binding exactly.
It's almost binding, assuming some conditions.
Binding,
yeah.
So once it's accepted by the user, it's binding for the company and for the user too. So, well, this week we have been talking with potential jurors that are going to be part of this project. As you know, jurors here need to have some specific characteristics. So we are going to be working with soulbound tokens. An SPT1 is going to be given to the users that are to the jurors that are lawyers and have some experience with consumer defense, and SBT2s are going to be given to the other jurors. So again, we are working a lot with that. We are having calls with potential jurors, and we are working in the parameters of this new court with William and JB. So besides that, we are preparing a workshop for Mendoza that we are going to be giving next Monday and next Tuesday. With Facundo, we are flying to Mendoza. We're going to give a workshop in a university on Monday. The idea is that that the audience of the workshop have the possibility to interact with the V2 and the university court, like have the experience of being a juror, and in the future they might be like real jurors in our cases for Mendoza. That's going to be on Monday. We are going to have a presentation in the morning and a workshop in the afternoon. And on Tuesday, we are going to be giving a presentation in the Justice Palace of Mendoza. And we are going to be talking about what we have been working with Mendoza and everything related to that. Another update is that yesterday a new case was created for El Dorado. El Dorado is a P2P, and we are working in a pilot case. The pilot case again was created yesterday, so jurors pay attention. Well, actually, jurors were already selected, so they must be voting.
Pay more attention because you were already selected.
Yeah. And one last update is that we have a new member in the business development team. She's Lucia, and it's going to be helping us with everything related to Kleros Enterprise, with the manual processes, anonymization, and in the future, maybe with the commercial stuff related to Kleros Enterprise. So yes. And well, those are the updates from my side.
Speaking of Mendoza, so what's on the other side of Mendoza? As you might know, Chile is on the other side of Mendoza, and we are going to have a meetup there, or an event, more than a meetup, October, the week of 27, about Kleros. And, I put on LinkedIn, we were looking for a place where to do it. I put on LinkedIn that we wanted to do this little event. And I was looking for a place to do it, and we were offered like 5 places already where like universities, law firms wanted to give us their auditorium. So I mean, we have quite some traction, in Chile. So it's going to be really cool. I mean, I was really surprised, and you can see it on LinkedIn. Yeah, I mean, I guess we have some following. I guess that's it. Do we have anything else, Jean? Yeah, I'm sure you have some community.
One
updates.
last update.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, I received a message. They were inviting me to participate in a crypto tournament during Dev Connect with another team. So I'm still considering it.
Well, we'll make a prediction market on whether you continue working at Kleros after that or not.
That's part of the clause when you start. Right?
I'm joking. It's okay. We can lend you for yeah. Okay. Anything else, Jean? Community stuff.
I think the main thing is that the APY for staking is around 37% or 38%. So if you have BNK unstaked, please stake for your own good. And also the court that has been more active is the Curation Court. So the court where the cases that come from the registries that Fortunato told us about, that's where the cases go. I think we had maybe 30 cases this last month, and it's always like if you want to get cases, I think this is the one to court to stake. And another integration from this last week that we will probably be featuring next in the next call is Ringo. They have a kind of a P2P prediction market, actually P2P bets that you can make with friends. You basically uses Twitter to make these bets, and it uses Kleros as the final arbitrator. So instead of in crypto Twitter, there are lots of people that say this protocol will reach millions of dollars in market cap, and someone says, okay, it won't, it will fail. So sometimes they bet, they want to bet against each other, and they use some just regular people, like famous people on Twitter, and send their money to them, and it's a bit ridiculous because it's not using any crypto tools. So why are we doing? Why are we here? So
because of the money, right?
Yes.
The idea seems good.
Even if it's that, then you are trusting your money to a random stranger that can run away with your money. That there was even a situation that's completely crazy where the guy had the funds deposited on FTX. So he had to cover the money for the bet. That was he was the escrow. He had to cover from his own money because otherwise the money was blocked for, I think, 3 years now. So it's ridiculous. It's easier to use a smart contract that actually can enforce the decision, and you also don't have the problem of the oracle. Instead of trusting on one person to decide who won the bet, then you trust Kleros and the jurors that will decide on that question. So yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting product. It seems very easy to use. I will try to try it this week for the first time.
Maybe we can do an announcement in the future with them, because we have been in contact with them a lot. Actually, this working a lot, mostly Koki. I think that they would like to have maybe they can join us in the next community call or in 2 weeks. What do you think, Jean?
Yes, we will be coordinating this week with them.
Right. But yes, their idea seems to be like innovative and a good idea. Hope.
This is the definition of building in public, basically. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for the week, right? We already gave a lot of information about the event, lots of enterprise stuff, prediction markets, governance, Futarchy. So, guys, thank you all for coming to the Kleros Weekly Community Call. Next one is going to be in 1 week, in the next community call on Wednesday next Wednesday at 6 p.m. UTC. Thank you all for coming. See you on Telegram before or next week at the call. Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.